Hello everyone and welcome back to Destiny. I think yesterday was one of the most rewarding days I've had. Of course, I'm talking about the release of the heroic mode for Wrath of the Machine. The light leveling was super satisfying and the raid itself was just a ton of fun. Now I know I haven't given you guys too many of my thoughts on the raid, but I do have to say that it's hands down my favorite raid in all of Destiny. Now we'll talk about the raid in much more detail in a different video, but in summary, I love that it takes advantage of all of the great mechanics in Destiny, everything from gunplay to verticality to tactical strategy and communication. And in addition to the raid itself being satisfying, it's also the most satisfying reward system that features the best weapon set since Vault of Glass. So in this video, we'll take a look at some of the amazing loot that I gathered from running Wrath of the Machine Heroic with 2 characters. So as of right now, my Hunter is my highest light guardian at 396. I started the raid with 392 and ended with 396 at the end of the day, and as anyone can tell you, that is no easy feat. Now we'll go over that a little bit later, but I did want to start out by showing you some of the loot, starting with the Incarnadine shader. Now I know that this is a normal mode shader, but I never got a normal chest piece, which I finally got during my first heroic attempt. Next up is the Devil Undone emblem, which is probably one of my favorite emblems in the game. The first weapon I got was a pleasant surprise, the Steel Medulla. This is a Haka pulse rifle on the high impact low rate of fire side of the spectrum, which makes it even more interesting that it has full auto. The unique perk is Sign of 4, landing 3 bursts on a target causes the 4th burst to do extra damage. Now this weapon, like most other raid weapons, follows the philosophy of dishing out as much damage per second as possible. It also features a lot of great perks like hand-laid stock that help you max stability. Now I'm actually not a huge fan of Haka weapons in general, especially their pulse rifles. There's something with the animation that just makes the weapon feel less accurate than it actually is. Also, I don't like a lot of the different sways some of the weapons can have, but the hand-laid stock perk on this makes this gun buttery smooth. I actually really enjoy using it. The next weapon I got was the Zeal Vector sidearm. Now I was really hoping to get the Ex Machina sniper rifle, which is in the same loot table as this weapon, but as far as sidearms go, this is actually a pretty good one. It has really high stability and reload, and it has a pretty high rate of fire compared to its impact. The first perk is Reactive Reload, but the final perk is Quick Reaction, which gains increased agility when Reactive Reload is active. And I have to say that it's definitely noticeable. If I could design one of the artifacts, I would make one that would let you reload your guns while sprinting. This almost makes it feel that way because you walk a lot faster than you normally would. And finally, definitely one of the more interesting weapons in the raid set is the Materia. This weapon is on the highest rate of fire, lowest impact tier, which is not one I'm super fond of, especially with its less than desirable stock stability. It's very unique because the first perk is Triple Tap. Rapidly landing precision hits will return 1 round to the magazine. And its final perk is just like the one with the scout rifle, Triple Double. When Triple Tap perk is triggered, an extra bullet will be transferred from your reserves to your magazine. Now luckily this gun has braced frame, which is sort of its saving grace. It does reduce your magazine down to 60, but it's going to make Triple Tap and Triple Double work a lot better. As you can see here with me fighting the Abomination, his crit spot isn't super easy to hit, so this isn't the best demo of what this weapon can possibly do. If you can find a target with a much larger hitbox, like let's say Rixus from Winter's Run, that will probably go a lot better. Having said that, with its redeemed stability and using burst fire, I definitely felt like I was melting things down, which is a good sign. And finally we have the Amalgam Shell, which I really like that it looks like the Outbreak Prime. And while mine does have ether seeds, it doesn't have spin mellow extractor, which I find to be the most valuable, at least right now during Rise of Iron. So I'll be keeping an eye out for this shell with those perks. Now finally, before I head out for today, I did want to share my completed Rise of Iron Year 3 record book. The only 2 milestones I was missing was in the Wrath of the Machine page. First one is High Speed Crash, which has you finish the Siege engine in under 6 minutes. And then there's Metal with Metal, which simply has you complete the raid on Heroic. Completing those milestones granted me the final shader. I have to say it's a pretty cool shader, but it's not as cool as Devil Undone, which I really like. So those are pretty much my raid loot highlights. From my experience, at least while decrypting a lot of exotic engrams and opening faction packages, the actual raid loot drops seem to offer the largest leaps in light. On top of that, Archon's Forge and Strike exclusive loot are going to be the most efficient way to climb up to 400. The Strike Hordes are especially nice because you can kind of choose what you need based on the limited loot table of the Horde chests. As you can see here, I got an artifact and gloves, which is exactly what I needed. Now, in my weekly guide, which is going to be my next video, I'm going to be going over a few more tips and tricks on how to climb that ladder up to 400. So be sure to subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss out. Also, liking the video goes way farther than you might realize, so dropping that like is always appreciated. And I will see you all next time. And finally, we have Ascendant Raisins. This is definitely one of the more cheeky, fun additions to the game, but if you had your old box of raisins from the last Festival of the Lost, they have now been transformed into Ascendant Raisins.